All right, hey everybody, it is May. It is May the 13th, and this is episode 28 of Hump Day Hangouts. We got almost the full crew here. I think Hernad's going to show up here in a little bit, but we got Chris, Marco, Bradley, and myself. So I think we're starting a few minutes late here. I had some technical difficulty, so we'll just go right into it.
Yeah, the technical difficulty was not to update Windows without at least an hour. I had 17 updates, and I tried to update them starting at like 3:30 p.m., and it took 30 minutes for it to update, and I was freaking out. So, note to self, don't do that again. Hey guys, episode 28, Hump Day Hangouts, like you said, May 13th. We got a lot of questions already, so we're going to kind of get into it. Chris is here again, so we're going to prove to you guys that he does exist, one way or another.
Yay!
So I'm going to go ahead and take the screen, and we'll jump right into it.
Cool.
Because we got a lot to go through, and then we got Masterclass coming up after this, which will be actually week 10 of Masterclass. For anybody that didn't see the class we did last week, the training on setting up outsourcer hiring funnels, then go back and review that because it was really, really good, and we're going to follow up with that today on how to train and manage outsourcers as well. So that's part of Masterclass, which is following this immediately after Hump Day Hangouts. We'll get into the Masterclass training. So, all right, I'm going to take the screen. Do we have any other announcements, Adam, that I need to address?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Well, then give me a moment, guys, while I finish getting set up. My computer's still...
I saw Zach's title. I'm back with another list and started wondering, but this looks pretty good. There's some good questions, but I think we'll be able to get through his questions pretty quick.
All right, cool. All right, let's see. Just need to clarify something as I begin to use my proxies. As I'm in Firefox with the proxy, does Chrome open up under my IP? Okay, yeah, and Chris, I saw that Chris did, Greenhow did answer this. And yes, if you're in Chrome, and you're using Firefox for your SEO stuff, and you're using a proxy, your Firefox will show your proxy IP, but your Chrome will show your local IP. Okay, so that's why you definitely want to keep Firefox clean. But I use Chrome for just like my regular day-to-day activities and my browsing and managing my Google Sheets and everything else, and then I use Firefox for most of my SEO stuff, which I keep clean. Okay. Am I currently using any cloud storage sites in your networks? Yeah, look, you guys are relentless when it comes to if somebody sees something at video number 14 at 3 minutes and 28 seconds, they catch a glimpse of something that's not in the training, we get questions about it. Well, I saw this. Does this mean we should be doing it? No, it doesn't. If it's not in the training, don't do it. I was testing a couple of the cloud storage networks at the time that I was recording those videos, and they did not pan out. So if they did, they would be in the training. Okay, so the only ones that you should be using are the ones that we provide, which is the ones that we have training for, which is Google Drive and OneNote. Okay. When I set up Robert R. Mills, you put the blogger link under contributed to. Could you elaborate on why? And is the same section you would add personal domains to? Well, yeah, a contributor to is for Google authorship. You don't see Google authorship anymore in the search results. They took that out. So that was the little image, the face image, a profile image that would show up in the search results, and they stopped doing that. But Google authorship is still alive and well, and that's how you can actually, once again, tie a theme to a persona. Okay, that's how you can build authority for that persona, and you can do it, for yourself, obviously. So you'll notice that on the profile pages, there's a contributor to section and then, profile link section as well. But on Google Plus pages, it doesn't have that. It's just a links section only. And that's because there is no authorship for pages. Okay? You can link an associated website, which is what's called Google Publisher or in Publisher Markup, but there's no authorship, which there is with profiles. So a contributor to section is anywhere that you want to claim or attach authorship to, which we just use Blogger because it's a Google property. If you have a main website, if you're doing this for blog syndication instead of YouTube syndication, then I recommend you put your main money website there. But you can have more than one there as well. For example, if you have multiple blogs that you are blogging on, and I'm talking about you personally, but let's say you had a persona. Like for me, for example, I could show you an example of mine, but I have contributor to authorship set up for multiple domains. Semantic Mastery is one of them. Big Bamboo Marketing is another one. Newswire.net, I use Newswire for press releases, so I have authorship connected to that. So there's a lot of, anywhere that you have your contributing content to, you can tie authorship to, and that goes for your personas as well. Okay, you have to complete the loop though, or it doesn't really matter. So like if you're putting, what I mean by complete the loop is if you put a domain in the Google authorship section, which is the contributor to section, you have to also go put the link rel equals author tag on your website, and I'll get into that maybe in one of the more advanced trainings. I'm not going to pull that up right now, but it's the same exact kind of tag. It's an HTML tag, the same kind of tag that you put in for Google Publisher markup, where it says rel equals publisher, except this will be rel equals author. That's the only difference. So like when you go to associate a website with your Google Plus page, it gives you, unless you've connected through Google Webmaster Tools, it gives you an HTML tag that you're supposed to add to your site. Okay, and that's what verifies that you own that domain and therefore associates that domain with your page, your Google Plus page. It's called publisher markup. Well, the same code, you'll see rel equals publisher. You'll also see you can change out publisher with author and tie that in using your profile and your contributor to section. So I know that's probably clear as mud without some examples, but do some digging. Go to google.com and search authorship markup, or rel equals author is all you really need to put in, and you'll find plenty of tutorials and how-tos on how to set that up. Okay. As I have done some digging, I have found Tumblr themes that include various social buttons. I was wondering if these kind of links would be equal to the ones you code into the Tumblr header. Yeah, sure, absolutely. We just hard-coded them in because it's just easier than having my VAs constantly trying to find new themes to use and stuff like that. But absolutely, go ahead. If you've only got a network or a couple of networks and you want to go in and customize them and all that kind of stuff, by all means do that. I encourage that. Okay. Related, in addition to the Gravatar widget, WordPress seems to come standard. Others that connect your profiles, and About.me, one that I think looks better than Gravatar's social icons widget, is kind of weak for this purpose, but also delicious links feed. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, once again, you guys can contribute, or customize any way you want. I mean, again, I showed you one way. That's not the only way to do it. You can do it any way you want. If you find other widgets that you like better, by all means use them. You can hard code stuff in. You can change the themes. We just give you a guideline, guys. You can run with it, do whatever you want, get crazy, get creative, make it your own. Okay?
Yeah, and you guys can think of this as kind of the base. This is where you can start, and there's always going to be some other stuff you can add in. Maybe it's more manual, maybe it's not. Some different stuff you can do, but just think of this as the base case, and then build out from there.
Yep. Number 5, saw an early Semantic Mastery video where Barely talked about virtual versus physical silo testing. Which one out? They both are relatively equal. I still prefer the physical silo. Virtual silo just means that you silo your site out using internal links within the content of your site instead of it showing in the physical silo structure, or instead of showing the physical URL structure. With a physical silo, it's in the URL structure and internal links. It still requires the internal linking as well, but you can see it in the URL structure because you're using pages and parent pages and child pages, categories, subcategories, and in post. So there's a hierarchy in your URL structure. But I have seen almost near identical results with a virtual silo. So they're almost equally as powerful. I prefer a physical silo though because it looks logical, it looks clean, and personally I think it has slightly better results. Okay, I'm trying to decide whether to use pages or posts to structure content on a new site. I was thinking about 3 to 10 pages on the different subjects, but also categories that match up with the subjects too. Probably add a widget that shows like 5 to 10 posts from the category on the topic page. Any thoughts on this would be greatly appreciated. It depends on what kind of silo you're building. We have training on that on our blog, which is the the simple versus complex silo structures. If you actually just go to semanticmastery.com/blog and scroll through our posts there, and you'll see it. I don't know if we have a search. Do we have a search bar on our site? I don't know if we do or not, but
No, we don't have a search bar. We should.
We should, but it's silo structures explained. Adam, if you want to, or Marco, if you want to dig that post up real quick on the site and drop the link on the page here. It's called, I think it's silo structured. It's explained is the title of the post. And anyways, it's a video I did which just discusses, you know, the silo different types of silo structure. If you're doing a complex silo structure, you're going to use a combination of pages and posts. If you're doing a simple silo structure, it's most likely going to be pages is your silo heading, but everything else is going to be posts. Keep in mind, though, that if you're going to be syndicating your posts across an IFTTT network, you're going to want to use posts, because otherwise your pages don't insert themselves in the RSS feeds unless you use a plugin that forces that. Like RSS includes pages or something like that. There's a couple of plugins that do that. I don't recommend that, though, because it's a pain in the ass. Like if you're adding pages that you don't want to syndicate, then you have to set up filters and all that kind of stuff. So like I typically will set up my pages and build links to them kind of more manually, and then I use my posts as my syndication, you know, the content distribution, okay, which feeds the networks, if that makes sense. Okay. Also, there's plugins that, you know, talking about having widgets that, like sidebar navigation menus that only show posts within a certain category when you're in that category. That's great for silo structure. But it's really difficult to set up. It's very time-consuming to set up if you do it manually. You can do it with like conditional widgets, like widget context is one. Another one's called widget logic. Those are called conditional widgets. In other words, they'll only display content within a specific category if you're in that category. So you set up like cause and effect within the widgets themselves, and they're fairly self-explanatory when you install them, but it's very time-consuming. There are plugins that will do all of that for you automatically. Network Empire has a great one that's free to download, DWS Silo Builder. It's probably the silobuilderplugin.com or something like that. It's Network Empire's free version that just sets up silo structures and silo menus very quickly. It's got like a visual silo builder. I use that all the time. They have a paid upgrade which can import YouTube videos, which you can certainly purchase if you'd like. But I use that particular plugin all the time, and that's for complex silo structure. There's also Ultimate SEO, or SEO Ultimate. I can never remember which order it's in, but that plugin for Ultimate SEO, I think that has some silo functionality built into it now too. It might be the Pro upgrade that you need for it, but it's a very cool plugin. So you could look into that one as well. Okay, we're going to move on. The next one is number 6. So once the accounts are primed with the first post, is there any other content generation you do to build page power and relevance? I heard you talk about adding RSS feeds or some other sort of content from other sources in one of the first vids I watched. I understand you juice the links with GSA and FCS. It's actually with FCS and GSA in that order. But thinking of other ways to differentiate all these accounts that will have fresh post or two than a massive amount of syndicated content links. Thanks for the time. If I'm using tiered networks for blog syndication, then we always blend in additional content sources for the tier 2 networks. Tier 1 is the branded networks. It's strictly the content coming from my own blog, because those are that's my golden frame, right? Those are branded properties. I don't want to put other people's content on my branded properties. I want to keep people in my golden frame, you know, in my funnel, on, you know, focused on my brand, my website. So even if they're on one of the satellite sites or one of the Web 2s, the branded accounts, it's still branded and it's still got content, all which leads back to where? To my main money site, ground zero, the epicenter of all activity, right? So I don't like mixing content into there at all. But on tier 2 networks, when you get out to tier 2, yes, we blend in. If you're using tiered networks for blog syndication, then we blend in additional content sources to cover some footprint issues, plus to keep the tier 2 networks automated or updated with content, which will improve trust flow and page authority, keep them active, everything else. There's multiple reasons why we do that. Okay, as far as boosting those to make them more powerful, yeah, I mean, again, step 1, build networks. Step 2, build links to networks. Right, and we've talked about that multiple times. As soon as a network is done being built, you know, I hand it over to my link building team, and they set up an FCS and a GSA campaign where they're basically boosting the page authority and inbound link juice and everything to those networks. So, okay. I mean, you can do manually posted stuff on those too, but just keep in mind it's a time issue. You know, I like to use the syndication because it's automated, and the only thing we have to do is update content on the blog. All right.
All right, so as you mentioned, Chris answered that, and Chris had some other ideas there too for stuff you could do if you want to protect more than one browser at a time. But that's probably more than what Zach needs.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Chris has been very excited and active in the mastermind recently, so that's awesome. Welcome. Glad to have you, Chris.
Good deal, and he's
Frank.
got the next question.
Or Chris has a question, or Frank does?
Chris does, right below
Okay.
Frank, I believe.
I wasn't sure if that was an additional comment from.
Nope, yeah, it's a question.
Okay, after reading some cautionary blog posts about the wisdom or otherwise of readily sharing our information with the powers that be, what is your feeling on the pros and cons of installing Webmaster tools? Oh, this is a good question. Google Webmaster tools and analytics on a money site. Obviously, they provide valuable data for SEO, but are we exposing too much of ourselves to the big G potentially? Okay, conspiracy theorists beware. Google knows what you're doing online anyways, guys. Period. They know what you're doing anyway, so why not go ahead and access the data that they're collecting on you? That's simple as that, guys. Google already knows what you're doing. Do you use Chrome? They know what you're doing. Do other people use Chrome? They know what you're doing. Do you have Google as your default search engine on Firefox? Then they know what you're doing. My point is they already know what you're doing, whether you like it or not. So why not access the data that they're collecting on you and see what they're seeing? And so I use Google Analytics and Webmaster tools on all of my properties. I don't keep them all under one account. That would be stupid. Okay, but what I do is because of all the IFTTT networks that we have multiple persona accounts. So we put our sites under personas accounts. Now for money sites, I don't care. I'll put multiple money sites under my own account. I have no problem with that. If I'm doing kind of black hat stuff or I'm building spam sites or anything like that, then of course I'm not going to put them under my main account. But it also makes sense to limit your risk or limit your exposure by spreading your websites out across multiple persona accounts anyways, and then adding yourself as a Webmaster tool user, an account manager, because then you can still access all of the Webmaster tools data and all of the analytics data from your main profile, your main Google account. But the Webmaster tools site owner and analytics site owner is actually the persona account. So that limits your risk because, hey, well, look, we're web professionals, right? Shouldn't we be able to access as a manager all of the different sites that we manage? Of course. So, like, what I'll do is for persona accounts, I'll put maybe 3 to 5 websites in a persona account, and then I add myself as a manager. Okay, so it would be nice if I could log in and show you guys where to do that exactly. But let me see. I'll go ahead and I think I can probably do it without showing too much. If I go to Webmaster Tools, let me just jump into something very quickly. Let's go to Big Bamboo Marketing. All right, so guys, if we take a look at this, like I'm inside Webmaster Tools, and if I come over here to Settings, and you'll see where it says Users and Site Owners, click that, and then you can add users and site owners just by saying Add New User. So if you connect your Google Webmaster Tools account or a website to a Webmaster Tools account using a persona's Google account, then all you need to do is just, when you're in that Webmaster Tools account, go to Add New User or Settings, Users and Site Owners, Add New User, and then add your main profile. And then you, instead of selecting Restricted, I always go to Full, and then I click Add. And once I click Add, now I can access that site from my main account. So I don't have to clear cache and cookies and log into that other Google account just to view the Webmaster Tools data. I can find it and locate it and view it from right within my main Google account that I'm always logged into anyways. And the same goes for analytics, okay? The exact same thing goes for analytics. So, again, because I hear this stuff all the time from SEOs, and look, you guys can debate it with me all you'd like. If you don't want to use Google Webmaster Tools or Google Properties, then don't. It's entirely up to you. It's just I'm going to go ahead and use their data to help me with my SEO work because they're already collecting data on you, whether you like it or not. They've already got data on your sites. Okay. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But again, limit your risk, Chris. Spread your sites out. If you got multiple sites, I would spread them out across multiple persona accounts so that just in case you ever did something that really pissed Google off and they decided they wanted to come slap you, they wouldn't be able to slap all of your sites because they were all housed or owned under one account, right? They'd be spread out. You put your eggs in multiple baskets instead of one is my point. Frank Thomas, when syndicating to IFTTT Hangouts, you mean networks. What is the proper way to syndicate using GSA and FCS? Well, I don't syndicate using GSA and FCS. We use the IFTTT networks to syndicate content, and then I use FCS and GSA to build links to the networks to boost the power of the networks. So, in other words, let me pull up a graphic here because this is one of those recurring questions. In fact, you might want to make a note of that, Adam, because we could put this in the knowledge base.
You forgot my name.
If we don't already have it in the knowledge base, which
Yeah.
I'm surprised we don't, but if we don't,
I thought it was in there, but
it might
I'll
be.
make a note.
That's what I was going to say, because this question has come up repeatedly. But if not, we'll make this the response. Okay, so tiered networks, guys. Whether it's tiered or just a single network, it doesn't matter. The point is that from here, so this would be your money site or your blog, or I'm sorry, your YouTube channel, whichever, right? And this would be your branded network here. And obviously, this is just a small section, cross section of the properties that we use. But the point is that from here, I build links from using FCS Networker. We build links to all of the properties within the network. So within the account workbook template, let's go take a look at that one. So within the account workbook template, right here in the main tab for what says Web 2.0, this is where we collect all of our information, usernames, passwords, the profile URLs, which go in this column right here, in this section right here. Once your networks are all built, I collect all of my network URLs or my network URLs, profile links, one and the same. Okay, they're interchangeable terms. Then we just submit those to an FCS Networker campaign, which my team does, and then we build contextual links using themed networks, Web 2.0 networks with somewhat relevant content. Doesn't have to be exact, because if we go back to this image, remember, this is our money site or our YouTube channel. These are tier 1 links. So if we're building links to these, which again is all the profile URLs right here, okay, then we're building contextual links at tier 2. Those would become tier 2 links, correct? So tier 2 links don't have to be highly themed. We try to get it in the same ballpark, but there are certainly there's some limitations. If we got somebody that's got a very narrow niche, we're not going to be able to build very narrow niche content out to here. It wouldn't make sense. It would be too much of a cost, too much of a hassle. So we use something that's somewhat related to the main money site theme. Okay, we try to get it in the same ballpark. We build contextual links out at this level. So this would be the tier 2 links. They're actually tier 2 links to the money site, but they're tier 1 links to our target URLs, because our target URLs are what? These links right here, right? So our target URLs are here. So our FCS would become tier 2, right, or tier 1 to the target URLs, and then we build GSA search engine ranker links to the FCS networker links, so that we can basically power up those FCS networker links. Okay. And so again, I don't use it to syndicate content. I know you can do that with FCS Networker. I personally don't do that. We do it just the way we show on our link sales page, which that's a good cue to drop the link on the page. But that's at links.ifttttseo.com. We have the link building service. The same one that we use for our networks is available for you guys as well. And that's how we do it. Okay. I know Larry Apka, who's a mastermind member, he actually PM'd me with a question, which, by the way, use our support desk, guys, for pre-sale questions. Please do not send private messages. Send them to support with pre-sale questions and support, or like account-related issues. Those go to support. SEO-related questions go to Hump Day Hangouts, or they go to the appropriate groups. We're going to really start getting very strict with that, guys, because we're getting hammered all the time with private messages and emails, and our support desk gets questions about SEO. That's not the proper place for that. SEO questions go either in the relevant categories, or they go to Hump Day Hangouts, or if you want quicker, faster, and more personalized support, join the mastermind. But for pre-sale questions, please contact us at support. And that was Larry actually had a question about that too, about the same thing. He was talking about having his IFTTT networks, and he didn't understand where to use FCS and/or GSA. And so hopefully, Larry, this will answer your question. Again, guys, I do not recommend GSAing directly to these properties unless you want to GSA out here, to your second tier networks. Why? Because GSA is a pure spam tool, right? There's like A lot of the times we're using lower quality properties. I know you can have your own custom built list that you build, you know, your custom built website list that you post links to, which you should anyways. You have your own list. You should always be building your own list. But a lot of the times they're going to be lower trust flow. They're going to be like orphaned accounts, which means there's no real theme to the accounts and everything else. So I don't recommend linking directly to your tier 1 network properties with GSA. You can do it out here to tier 2 properties. But we just have it set up so that it's a system that just works really well, and that's just to take our IFTTT network links, whether they're tier 1 or tier 2 network links, it doesn't matter. We just hand them straight over to Dedia and his crew, and they start building the FCS networker links to those, and then we build GSA links to the FCS networker links. Simple as that.
Cool. Brian's got a good question here.
Okay. Brian says, anyone use Sales Funnel to bring in SEO clients? Brian, we talked about this in 2 locations. The Advanced Strategy webinar number 3 for IFTTT SEO Academy. We set up specifically, was training on setting up prospecting funnels for clients and how to set them up. I went through that extensively, demonstrations and all on how to set them up. And then in week 7 and week 8 of the IFTTT SEO Masterclass, that was 2 entire weeks dedicated to setting up sales and prospecting funnels. And then last week we did an outsourcer hiring funnel. So we actually had 3 weeks of funnel training. Okay. So what do we offer? Free or paid things that you may offer to convert? I don't for prospecting. I don't. I mean, if you're talking about building a list, like an opt-in list so that you have an email list, you can offer some sort of cheese. You know, that's what Hernan is he on, because he always says cheese and it makes me laugh.
Unfortunately not.
Always makes me laugh when he says it. But you can offer some sort of opt-in, like a freebie, like a PDF or something like that. I found for internet marketers and stuff, it's great because you're giving away valuable information. But I found offering an opt-in, like a white paper and stuff, it doesn't work that well with local clients. If you're offering a coupon or something like that, then that tends to work better for local clients. But I found that typically when I send people to sales funnels or prospecting funnels to try to sell them on a service, I just literally push them through to a buy button, and then there's underneath the buy button there will be a question or an opt-in, an area for them to opt in if they still have questions and they're not ready to purchase yet. And it'll say something like, "Not ready to buy yet, still have questions. Send us your name and email and we'll contact you," something like that. Because honestly, I don't want to talk to anybody until they've gone all the way through the funnel, and they're like, by that time they're pre-sold and they have a real high interest level. They're very likely to purchase. I just don't like cold contacting and stuff anymore, so I use funnels to drive cold traffic to them, and then once they get to that point where they're at the buy button or the opt-in for contact request, then they're pre-sold. They're a warm lead at that point, not a cold lead. Okay. So you can play around, test it, Brian. Test it with the different offering, cheese, something as a freebie for an opt-in. Personally, I just market to more people. So, but it works great in the IM industry, guys. Most of you all are here because you downloaded our PDF. You know what I mean? So it works great for that. Kevin McCarthy. He's one of the Network Empire certified advisors. I was at certification with him last year. If this is the same Kevin McCarthy, and I believe it is. So what's up, Kevin? He's in the UK, across the pond. When setting up a YouTube channel, you say it's best to link it to Google Adsense. Do we need to create one for the persona, or can we link it to ours without creating a footprint? It's a great question. I usually only do that with my money channels, my main money channels that I end up managing through my own account anyways, Kevin. So even if I set, just like what I talked about with Webmaster tools and analytics earlier in this Hangout, I will create YouTube channels under persona accounts, but then I will add myself, my main profile, me, Bradley Benner, as a page manager so that I can access those money channels through my main account without always having to log into another Google account and clearing my browser of cache and cookies and all that. So I typically, for money channels, will just connect my own AdSense or AdWords account. You know what I'm saying? I'll connect my own account that way. That way, it's just easier. And usually, my money channels, like if I have pure spam channels, I don't bother with that. I don't go through that trouble because I expect my spam channels to get terminated at some point or another. Even though I've never had it happen, I swear to God, I've got spam channels with hundreds of pure spam videos on them, and they still are live today. But I always expect at some point that they'll get taken down, so I don't do that. But for money channels, which I treat with much more respect, I just link them through my own account. Okay. When trying to rank videos for a product name, i.e., product name, what is the best way to determine the title description for it? So, for example, product name review or product name features, all of the above, Kevin. Test them. You know what I would do? I would take the same video, change it slightly to make the file slightly different, spin it, in other words, and target all of those. I would target the product name review, product name features, product name benefits, product name, sale, product name, whatever. Anything that you can do, I would go ahead and target all of them.
Yeah, and this is just my personal 2 cents, but I'd also put some more words in there. I would not just have the model name in one word.
Yeah, I would put something in there like a question or something, answering a question, just to make it more of a compelling title to click. And you know that, Kevin. We've had marketing training, the same marketing training. If this is the same Kevin McCarthy, I'm pretty sure it is. Can I have the same product video on different YouTube channels? Yes. If so, do I need to rewrite descriptions, title, etc.? No, not if they're on different channels. Just if they're on the same channel. And if they're on the same channel, you need to modify the file slightly or live stream it, because the live stream in itself will make it a unique file. Okay? But if you have the same video, you can copy a video word for word, the same file, like download a video from one channel and upload it to another channel, and you won't get duplicate content. Like if you try to do that within the same channel, you'll get that error message that says YouTube won't allow it because it's a duplicate, it's a duplicate video that's already on the same channel. But if you take the same video and put it on another channel, you won't experience that. Okay, I would still change the description slightly, Anyways, Brian says, "Hi SM team. When doing strategies you teach in the RSS Academy, how many tiers do you roll out? Branded level tier is obvious, but how much further from there? Tier 2, Tier 3? On a personal note, I have not needed to go past Tier 2 yet." Yeah, I don't either, Brian. I've gone out to Tier 3 with some YouTube networks before, some video syndication networks before, but I haven't needed to because of the fact that I use the link building. I build links to my networks with FCS and GSA. I stop at Tier 2 now because it's just a ton of additional work, and I don't need it because I'm powering up those networks with additional links. But to answer your question specifically about the RSS, it depends. I've got an outsourcer that does that for me, so I always take the Tier 1 and send that through the advanced RSS strategy, like the same training that you guys have where we blend the feeds and everything and then push them out. We use RSS Submit 5 or RSS Submit 3. You can use either one. RSS Submit 5 is a little bit better. Anyways, we'll do all that, and I've just got an outsourcer that does that for me. So it just depends on what, how much other stuff's going on, if I'm going to send all of them out. It will certainly help if you take all your Tier 2 network link RSS feeds, because remember, just same thing, guys. We're back over here. You see this column right here? This column right here is where you're going to have your RSS feeds, URLs from all of your network properties. So those are the feeds that you could blend together, and you could submit to RSS directories and aggregators. And all it's going to do is it's going to boost the power automatically, 100% automated, of all of your network properties. So Brian, again, it depends. I mean, I always do the Tier 1 stuff, yes, but the Tier 2 stuff, it just depends on how much stuff's going on, if I get around to sending it to them or not. Okay. Okay, keep moving.
All right, I think Bob is next. Yep.
How long does it take to have the sites built for me, full version? Bob, when our turnaround time is 17 to 21 days, we had actually got caught up, and then we had a big surge again. We just hired another assistant now, so we got 6 full-time people. We're probably going to hire 2 more. So right now we're still back up to around 17 to 21 days. You may get it sooner than that, but I'm not going to promise that to you. So 17 to 21 days. As we continue to build our team up, we're going to try to get our turnaround times down to no more than 14 days. But again, that may take some additional time while we train more staff members. Sky Rogers, what tool do you suggest to see the backlinks and anchors to my own sites? Is there anything without a monthly cost to do this? I don't know, Scott, because I always just use Majestic or Ahrefs. I stopped using. I use Majestic now because of the trust flow metrics. So I even canceled my subscription to Ahrefs. Ahrefs actually picks up more links. I think will show you more links than Majestic does. Like especially like Web 2 links, because Majestic has just for some reason just ignores a lot of Web 2 links and won't show them unless you force them to do it, which you can do within Majestic by telling them to manually crawl links, which again is a manual process. So I just use Majestic. So if anybody here has any suggestions for Scott for free backlink analysis tools, please feel free to mention them.
Yeah, and if there is something that's great, most of them, though, Scott, you can get some sort of analysis done. You know, it may be partial, you can't see everything, but I don't know. If somebody's got a better idea, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I mean, Majestic's not bad. You know, a lot of the times you can, you know, Majestic. I think Majestic is worth it if you're doing a lot of backlink analysis stuff. If you're just doing like something for your own site, then it may be a cost that you don't need to absorb. Because you know that's an additional cost. But if you're doing this for other people as well, you know, clients, or you got a lot of sites that you're ranking and doing SEO work for, then I would suggest investing in a paid subscription for that. Daryl Dresser says, I have a client with an existing WordPress.com site that has its own unique post content. His main site is ranking for the most part well enough for local search terms, but he wants to move the post from his WordPress blog to his main domains blog. Is this a good idea or a bad idea? Should I be concerned about duplicate content in this instance? If so, could I go into WordPress.com site and add attributions to his blog URLs from his primary domain, i.e. manual syndication? That's a good question. It's something I actually have never done, Daryl. My first thoughts, and again without testing it, I don't know, but my first thoughts would be that yeah, you could do that. Where you could move the content. So you can't 301 the WordPress.com. That would be ideally that's what you'd want to do, right? Is move the content over to the hosted domain, and then do a 301 redirect to say.
Can you add it as a Can you add it as a subdomain while it's still hosted by WordPress?
I don't know. I've never done that.
Yeah, me neither. I was just thinking because you can have it hosted by WordPress but use your own custom domain, and I'm just thinking out loud. I wonder if you could use a subdomain for that.
I don't know. But again, my first thought would be, that it should work. I don't know that your money site, the hosted domain, is going to outrank the WordPress.com domain. I mean, eventually it will. But remember, the WordPress.com site, you're piggybacking off the authority, the domain authority, and everything else that it already has. So, but yeah, what I would do in that case is I would copy the content over to the hosted domain and then put an attribution link on it. Now, it's not the same as 301ing. So, for example, if it's your WordPress.com /page1, let's just say that, page 1, right? That's what you want to move over to your hosted domain. If there's backlinks built to the WordPress.com page 1 page, then adding the content to your hosted domain and putting an attribution link will funnel some of the juice from the inbound links to the WordPress.com site over to that page, but it's not the same as doing a 301 redirect or a meta refresh where it pushes all of the juice over to there. Does that make sense? So, I mean, but that's what I would do, is just go ahead and copy the content over and, like you said, say, content moved over here, whatever. You could even put a link in there that just says that and say, read the content on our main blog over here, something like that. That's what I would do. But test it and see, and let us know, by the way, if you do that, if you have any success with it. Rainer says, did you ever do a Hangout explaining how to use SendWire? If so, can you give me a link? Thanks. Yeah, I think we have on multiple occasions talked about it. We've even gone into my SendWire dashboard and showed you guys how I use it and stuff like that. We do have that, Rainer. I'll have to dig it up.
Yeah, I'll take a look for that.
Yeah. And where's Michael? Michael should have that in the spreadsheet that he was creating with Hump Day Hangouts questions, because I know that's been covered multiple times. So if we can find that, we'll send it over to you, Rainer. By the way, guys, the way that I use SendWire, you can use SendWire. Look, this is the way I do it. Okay, I use SendWire for building links and embeds directly to YouTube videos. But for blog syndication stuff, I don't build directly to my money site with SendWire. I use that just like I use FCS Networker and GSA, right? I use SendWire to build links to my IFTTT network properties or to citations if you got local business. and you're doing local SEO, and you've got Yelp and Yellow Pages and Manta and all of those different sites, then SendWire is great for that. So is FCS and GSA to build building links to your citations, press releases. You can build links to press releases, your social profiles. Guys, remember, one of the things that we talk about in the training all the time is the Google Plus profile, the Google Plus page, YouTube, Gravatar, all the areas, about.me, which, by the way, in case you guys were unaware of it, no, that was pinboard.in, forgive me. About.me is another site like Gravatar where you can connect all of your links together. But those are perfect places to build additional links to. All of these are, in fact, right? But the ones where you have all of your other profile links in one place, those would be the ones that I would focus on first, because then whenever you build links to them, you're actually funneling juice to all of your properties in the network from that one location. So, for example, let me show you this as well. If we go to my YouTube channel here for Semantic Mastery, we'll go view the channel. And we go to, guys, think about this. Here's the main YouTube channel URL. You can build links to this, right? Then you can also build links to the videos page, right? Because look, there's a bunch of videos on this page. So you're building juice to the channel. You're building juice to the links right here. You're also building juice to the videos on the videos page. What about playlists? Guys, we talk about using playlists all the time, right? YouTube Silo Academy, build links to this URL. Right? And now you're also pushing juice into your playlists. Okay? If we go over to the About tab, well, look at this. This is where all those sites are interlinked, right? So now you're building links to the channel still, plus you're building links to all of your other properties. See that? So these are all great places to build links. If we click on, let's go over to about.me. I know that's not part of IFTTT training, but I did training on domain authority boosting, including about.me and some other stuff in a recent series that I've added to the mastermind training, and this is part of it. But look, this is about.me. Look at this, guys. See all these properties here interlinked? See all that? So this is another one. You build links to this about.me profile page, and you're going to push juice in through all of your other properties. Okay? Very, very powerful. And that was the wrong tab. When syndicating, Joanna says, when syndicating blog posts out from my money site, is it not considered duplicate content when it shows up on all of the other sites? That is definitely an FAQ. We have that in the knowledge base, I'm sure. I'll cover it very briefly, Joanna, because if you go to support.semanticmastery.com, we have a knowledge base with frequently asked questions, and that has been covered so many times I can't even count it. No, it's not duplicate content because you're citing the source. You have the attribution link, which is why we use the RSS plugin, or Yoast, which provides an attribution link. Okay, if you're citing the source, then it's perfectly legal to do so. It's if you're not citing the source or giving attribution to the original source, then yes, it's duplicate content. It's also plagiarism, copyright infringement, all of that. Right? So just like press releases, when you have a press release, the press release gets published to one press release outlet first, and then others come by and pick it up and re-syndicate the press release. It's not spun. It's the same press release posted on hundreds of media sites with a link back to the original source where it was published. And that's how you don't get caught. That's how you don't get hit with duplicate content, because you're citing the source. Perfectly legal to do so. Also, think about whenever you post content. Think about Facebook shares and tweets and things like that. Those are all shared content. Google Plus shares. It's always the same, right? But it links back to the source. So would that be duplicate content? No. So that's the only thing it's the same thing that we're doing. We're just intentionally sharing our content, and we're citing the source. We're saying, hey, this is an extension of my brand. My content originally was posted here, but I'm pushing it out here and here and here and here. If you want to see it where it was originally posted, click on the attribution link and it takes you back. Okay? Daryl says, let's see the beard.
Not today.
Is it my headphones, or are we waiting? Must be your headphones. Let's see. What else? Where else should I go?
Yeah, scrolling up. Hey guys, also we're looking for the right link to send you for the silo stuff. If we don't get it, we'll post it up later.
I thought Mark already sent it.
He did. It had some issues. We're just looking for a different one.
I posted a link to a video.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, that's fine. We have it on the website too. If you went to the post dashboard, Marco, and searched for it, it probably would have come up. I don't know.
I did. The only thing that's coming up is an old one that we did about a year ago.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as you got the video, it doesn't matter. It's good enough.
As far as the next one, it looks like Sergey's got a question here.
Let's see. 1 second. I want to take a look at this one just for a moment. Let's see. It's 3691. YouTube to Tumblr. Yeah, that's because you're using the wrong URL. So, Jose, you're using the wrong recipe. And the recipes, guys, are the most updated recipes are always in the account workbook template, which you guys have access to from inside the IFTTT SEO Academy training. Okay, it's an evergreen URL. Every time there's any changes, I update them here. So it's not working because you're using an outdated recipe. We recently, just last week, updated all of the YouTube recipes because we had to, because there was a change and a lot of them weren't working. And that happens from time to time. But they have all been updated. We updated the training area. We also posted it in the Facebook group, and we also sent out an email to everybody that had even downloaded the PDF at some point, announcing that change. Okay, so the URL's there. And by the way, if you go visit the PDF again, there's a link that brings you over to here now instead of the PDF having all the URLs, because we had to change that every time a recipe changed. Now the PDF just actually links to this workbook instead. Okay, so that's why it's not working. Double check and go back and update your recipe. So Sergey was next?
Correct.
Okay, based on your experience, how many properties does it take for ranking videos? Something like tree services, 200 Cali City State, tree service Newport News, or any example of your choice. Based on my experience, Sergey, it takes as many as it takes.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no rule of thumb. It's testing. You've got to test every single keyword. I've said this on numerous occasions, but I start off with a full 2-tier network before I even do a test. Like I have a full 2-tier network built already when I just begin testing, and then I'll start testing. And if I find that I need some additional push, then I'll stack additional networks. Right? I'll add additional 2-tier networks, or 2 additional secondary tier 1 networks, or I'll start boosting the network. Well, I always start boosting the networks anyways with the FCS and GSA links. But there really is no rule of thumb. It's going to be different for every keyword, and it doesn't matter. So it's like whenever somebody says how many properties does it take to rank a video for this keyword, I tell them as many as it takes, and that's my answer. It's always going to be that answer too. I wish it was that easy where I could say, okay, that keyword's going to take me, 2 full 2-tier networks in order for me to rank that. I wish it was that easy, but it's not that easy. And in fact, if it were that easy, then everybody would be doing it, right? So we're better off that it's not that easy. So it just takes testing. Every keyword has to be tested. And then you will start getting a feel for that particular market in that area, and then you'll have a better idea. But every single thing, every keyword is going to be different. That is Kevin McCarthy, I'm assuming, from the UK. What's up, Kevin? It's cool to have you here, man. Scott, we got a couple more that we can run through, guys, and then we got to wrap it up. But I'm going to start with Scott says, in the attribution link, just a simple text link and link entry, no widget or plugin entered at the end of.
No, it's just saying is the attribution link, just a simple text and link entry.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, you could do that manually. I mean, if you're using your RSS feed to publish your, push your content around, then the attribution link should be coded into that automatically anyways, which the Yoast SEO, WordPress SEO by Yoast, that plugin will give you that RSS attribute, the link in your RSS, the attribution link in your feed output, okay? There's also our RSS plugin, which is a free plugin, guys, so we don't support it, much because it's a free plugin. We're coming out with a premium version of it in the next few weeks. And then, obviously there will be support on that. But we get a lot of support tickets about the free SMRSS plugin not working. And sorry, we're not supporting it. It's free. So when the premium one comes out, we'll be happy to. But you can use that. And also when you're setting up your recipes in IFTTT, you can hard code in you can hard code in a attribution link if needed. But all it is just a link saying the original content source is here, and then it points to the original source.
Yep.
Jamel says, what do you think about buying Weebly or Tumblr subdomains that already have PA 20+? Yes, there's plenty of value in that, Jamel. We're actually working on building a marketplace of aged Web 2.0s with authority already, page authority, trust flow, and everything else. We're working on building that right now as we speak so that we can offer that to you guys, a marketplace where you can purchase those from us. Absolutely, they're hugely valuable to do that. It will shortcut your success. Basically, when we build FCS and GSA networker links to our network properties, we're doing it specifically for that reason, to boost page authority, right, of those properties to make them more powerful. So if you can actually buy them already with page authority pre-built and trust flow especially, then absolutely they're going to be more powerful. You're going to have quicker success. Okay. Oh man, we actually finished all the questions. That's insane.
We got one more.
Yeah, I see that. I'm just saying, like, there's no more. That worked out really well.
Yeah.
We got 64 people watching. That's really cool. All right, guys, last one for Joanna. She says, currently my PBN is linking directly to my money site, but I'd like to change that and have them link to Web 2.0s to my money site. To make this change, what's your best suggestion on how to do that? Manually, I guess, unless you have your PBN set up with something like main WP with like the links manager plugin, so that you can actually go in and update all that stuff from one from like a control panel. Then obviously you're going to have to do that manually. What I would recommend doing though, Joanna, honestly, is on any pages that you're going to update the links, I would add additional content to the page. So for example, if you have a post on a PBN that you have a link pointing directly to your money site right now, and you want to go in and change the link to, instead of it posting to your money site, to post to one of your Web 2s or your IFTTT network properties or whatever, then instead of just changing the link, I don't recommend doing that. You could remove the link or that's pointed to your money site, but I would add some additional content, even if it's just a paragraph of content somewhere on the page. It could be at the bottom of the post just as an update or something like that. And I would add the new link to the Web 2 property in that new content. Because the page has already been indexed with the link on it. I don't recommend swapping links out of already indexed pages in Google. That looks a little bit fishy, and for link building purposes. So instead, I would either just remove the other link to your money site or no follow it. In fact, that's probably what I would do, is change it from a do follow to a no follow, so that you still have that link to your money site, but it would be a no follow link, and then add a new snippet of text, whether it's paragraph or whatever, to that post, with a contextual do follow link to your Web 2.0. Okay? That's what I would do. Not only that, but just that simple change of adding a little bit of fresh content to that post is actually going to make that post more valuable anyways. It'll get, Google come back and recrawl it, reindex it, and you'll get a little bit of boost from that. Okay?
Cool.
Sweet. That was perfect timing.
Yeah, well done.
Out better. All right. Well, guys, I hope that was helpful.